Welcome to The Explainer. So when you hear the words heart attack, what immediately pops into your head? If you're like, well, most of us, you're probably picturing that classic Hollywood scene, right? Someone suddenly clutching their chest and collapsing out of nowhere. But today, we're going to completely shatter that myth. The medical reality is actually really different. A heart attack almost never happens without warning. The truth is, your body is running a silent countdown, and it's sending out a whole series of SOS signals long before the main event actually hits.
Think about it. What if that everyday indigestion is actually your heart literally crying out for help? Look, it's a totally normal human instinct to just wave off subtle discomforts. We've all done it. We blame a heavy meal, stress at work, or maybe just a bad night's sleep. But by brushing those feelings off, we're ignoring some absolutely critical warning signs. The urgency here is very real. We really have to start listening to our body's SOS signals before it's too late.
Which brings us to Section 1, the silent buildup. This is where hidden heart damage quietly begins.
Now, what's really fascinating about these numbers is this shocking statistic. About 35% of men in their 40s already have high LDL cholesterol. That's the bad cholesterol. And for women, it's over 30%. So if you're thinking you might be in this group, you are certainly not alone. Knowing this normalizes the risk, sure, but it also massively raises the stakes. Why? Because this incredibly common issue is exactly what fuels that silent buildup over time.
Let's actually break down these targets. Ideal blood pressure is under 120/80. The danger zone really begins when you cross 130/80. And the reason for that is constant high pressure acts almost like a sandblaster inside your body, just continuously damaging your blood vessel walls. And once those walls get damaged, that high LDL cholesterol, which ideally you want under 140, sneaks right in and silently builds up dangerous plaque. To fight this whole process off, you really want your HDL, the good cholesterol, over 40 to help sweep that plaque away.
Let's move on to Section 2, misunderstood chest pain, because it's really not always a sharp stab.
See, your first instinct might be to just assume a dull chest pressure is stress, maybe general fatigue, or even a heavy stomach after a big lunch. But the hidden reality here is that this is often angina or myocardial ischemia, which is a medical way of saying your heart is quite literally lacking oxygen. And this is especially dangerous if that pressure only happens when you're physically exerting yourself, like, say, climbing a flight of stairs, and then it totally vanishes when you rest. That is a massive red flag.
Okay, let's dive right into Section 3, surprising non-chest symptoms. These are the tricky warning signs.
Have you ever felt a strange numbness, heaviness, or maybe a dull ache in your left arm or shoulder? The common assumption is usually just, oh, I have a stiff neck, or I slept on it wrong, or even just smartphone fatigue from scrolling too much. But the hidden reality is this can be a direct symptom of a heart issue. For middle-aged men in particular, this is a glaring, blinking warning sign that you should absolutely never ignore.
So you're probably wondering, why on earth does your arm hurt when it's your heart that's in trouble? Well, this comes down to a phenomenon called referred pain. Basically, your body's internal wiring gets totally crossed. The pain signals from a starving heart travel up the exact same nervous system pathways as your left arm, your shoulder, or even your jaw. So your brain gets confused. It makes you feel the pain in your arm, even though your heart is the organ that's actually crying out for help.
Let's look at another super common misdirection, nausea. You might feel sick and just assume you ate way too much or maybe picked up a case of mild food poisoning. But the hidden reality here is that a struggling heart can actually stimulate your vagus nerve, and that induces profound nausea. This is a huge, critical warning sign, particularly for women and the elderly. They frequently experience what doctors refer to as painless heart attacks, where these weird digestive symptoms are actually the only clue you get.
And what about sudden dizziness or feeling like you might just faint when you stand up? Again, we naturally assume it's just anemia, a lack of sleep, or natural aging catching up with us. But in reality, if your heart's pump function is starting to fail, your cardiac output drops rapidly. That means your brain is suddenly starving for blood and oxygen. That wave of dizziness, it's just your brain reacting to a failing pump.
Moving right along to Section 4, the body's panic mode. This is your autonomic nervous system sending out a major SOS.
These three panic symptoms group together to form a pretty terrifying picture. First up, cold sweats. Think of this as your body pulling the emergency fire alarm. Second, a pale face, which happens because your body is desperately pulling blood away from your skin to protect your core organs. And third, unexplained anxiety or this sudden, intense sense of impending doom. This happens because your sympathetic nervous system is just flooded with adrenaline. It's sensing extreme danger before you even feel a single ounce of physical pain. To wrap up our symptom countdown, let's look at shortness of breath. If you're suddenly struggling for air while doing basic, everyday tasks, like literally just making the bed, don't automatically assume it's asthma or that you're just out of shape. The hidden reality is that when the heart pump fails, blood backs up and that creates an oxygen deficit in your lungs. For older adults, this sudden breathlessness is often the very first sign of severe trouble.
So, after running through all these honestly terrifying signs, the most obvious question is, can we actually reverse this silent countdown? Well, the answer is an absolute, empowering yes. We don't have to just sit around and wait in fear. There are concrete, highly actionable solutions you can start doing today to protect your heart and literally reverse the damage.
Let's jump right into Section 5, 3 ways to diffuse the countdown with simple lifestyle shifts.
The good news is you don't necessarily need a cabinet full of expensive pills to start protecting yourself. Everyday lifestyle habits are ultimately the most powerful, cost-effective preventative medicine out there. These 3 simple sequential lifestyle adjustments basically act as your personal shield. Step 1, control your blood pressure. Seriously, get a home monitor and check it regularly so you can stop vessel damage right at the source. Step 2 is building a moderate exercise habit. And Step 3 is maximizing your sleep quality. Let's actually look a little closer at those last 2. First off, if you're feeling guilty because you simply don't have time for a massive 2-hour gym session, you can just let that guilt go right now. You only need about 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week. But here's the best part. Breaking that up into small, manageable chunks, like a brisk 10-minute walk 3 times a day, works perfectly. It is incredibly effective at maintaining blood vessel flexibility and stopping that plaque buildup in its tracks.
And finally, let's talk about the ultimate healer, your sleep. Here are a few golden rules to really protect your heart. Number 1, no smartphones before bed, mostly because the blue light blocks your melatonin production. Number 2, absolutely no caffeine 3 to 4 hours prior to sleeping. And number 3, keep your bedroom dark, quiet, and slightly cool. High-quality deep sleep is the crucial window when your autonomic nervous system completely resets, naturally lowering your blood pressure and physically healing the strain on your heart.
We've covered a ton of ground in this explainer today. But honestly, the most important question is this. Which of these everyday SOS signals are you going to stop ignoring today? Your body is talking to you. If you ever feel that heavy chest pressure, that odd ache in your left arm, or sudden, totally unexplained nausea, take proactive action. Consult a doctor immediately. And please, share this explainer with someone you care about, because knowing this could genuinely save their life. Thanks so much for joining us, and stay healthy.